That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, God, it's a toad, son. It's a toad, dude.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day.
Live, what's going on, OneCast fans? Welcome to another Fishing Friday. Bunch of stuff to talk about today. Boats and people getting tore up on the St. Lawrence River.
Woo!
You got MLF dropping their schedule.
Mm-hmm.
You got, what else is going on in fishing?
Mike is watching. What's up, Mike?
What's up, Mike? You got all kinds of good stuff going on out there. So, as always, head over to onecastfishing.com. Use the code TheOneCast to save 10% off your order. Get some snagless jigs, long neck hooks, weedless neds, some of the soft plastics, which are restocked, all of that good stuff. Make sure you head over and check them out. OneCastFishing.com. Got another partner that we're going to announce next week on Fishing Friday. And if you listen to our episode on launch day, you might get to hear it a little bit early. So excited to finally announce that one and get that out to y'all. If you look here, I'm wearing a little, it's kind of hard to see.
Pete, stop showing everyone your shirt.
See that shirt?
and he's got a little drool slipping down there on it.
That's water. Yeah, that was for my liquid death here.
Pete's lactating.
We'll have we got some OneCast merch starting to roll in. You all asked for it, so be on the lookout. We'll announce when that stuff's coming out. Also, after we announce the new sponsor, we're going to have a giveaway. I don't know how it's going to work yet. It's going to be pretty big. Companies that we've had on and done stuff with. A bunch of people want to donate some stuff to that to bring to y'all. So once we get everything figured out, we'll roll that out to y'all. But be on the lookout for that. Mm-hmm. Other than that, it's hot again today in North Carolina.
Dude, it's blistering hot. It's about to be, I don't know, what is the heat index tomorrow? 5.7 million degrees.
Yes. But that's like, it's supposed to cool down after that next week. So a lot of rain, a lot of cooler temperatures.
That's right.
We'll get a hint of fall.
Yeah.
And we'll all want to get out there on the water. And when we get out there, we still realize the water is like 90 degrees, but we got to wait.
That's all right. Everybody will start beating the banks because it feels cool and they'll still be,
You know, the cool thing is, though, is you don't even have to mow your yard because your grass isn't growing. You know what I mean? Like, we live out in the sticks, of course, so ain't nobody care about my yard. But if you live in an HOA, your grass shouldn't be growing, right?
Yeah. I mean, we got ours mowed today, so hopefully we'll do one the last time. I will tell you what, I know we got fall fishing coming on. I hate fall fishing.
What?
Like of all the seasons, like of the 4 seasons, fall is my absolute. I hate it the most. I'd rather much be out there in the wintertime.
Really?
Trying to chase them in the fall.
I actually agree.
Because my thought is, especially right around the turnover, like those fish are right all summer long. They've been out deep offshore. That thermocline disappears. They can go deeper. They can go shallower. They can go, as long as there's bait around, they could be anywhere in the lake.
There's so much bait, and the bait gets so concentrated that it's hard to trick those fish.
And
the bait's so small that time of year, like they're eating on those tiny little thread fins instead of the bigger ones. It's just a tough.
And then everyone says in the fall, like go back to the creeks, right? There are some obviously bass that do that, but unlike the spring, there is no biological need for those bass to go shallow.
Nope.
If there's bait in the middle of the lake, there'll be bass out there. And so you really got to hunt for them. And so that's why it's probably my least favorite time, because it's the patterns are.
I think I'm the opposite guy of the group. I totally love fall fishing. I think chasing them around is fun. It depends on what lake you're on, though. Like every lake sets up differently, but like when they're trapped and they really just, where they're going to go, or you think where they're going to go, like it just makes it harder. But at the same time, like, it's just fun for me. But I want to give a shout out to everybody that tuned in. We got a lot of people viewing right now.
I like the fall because you just throw a square bill in the laydowns and everything.
Or you can throw top water. You can throw whatever. That's what's nice about the fall is it's basically.
There's junk fishing 101.
Yeah, you just junk fish, whatever you want to do. It's actually a perfect time to get really good at different techniques that you're not confident in. Because that there's really no pressure at that time. A lot of tournaments have stopped by then. Whatever.
Most guys are deer hunting.
That's one of my favorite. I deer hunt as well, but I usually just shoot 6 in one day and then I'm done for the season. No, I'm just kidding. But hey, Bradley,
it's
what Bradley say? There's a tropical storm down there, man.
Yeah, it looks like that's going to go hurricane. So we'll see what how that tracks if it ends up impacting us. Well, we might as well go into it.
Hurricane
That
style
could change.
winds.
Like everybody is super excited and talking about MLF, right? Because they released their schedule.
That's right.
And they're going to be coming local. I'm going to pull it up here real quick because I don't remember it off the top of my head other than the one. They're invitationals.
So the Bass Pro Tour announced their 2024 schedule, and what Pete's talking about right now is they're going to be coming to our neck of the woods, a few hours away from us, but
Actually, they're going to be in our neck of the woods for 3 tournaments this year.
That's right. That's right.
They're going to be fairly close. I'm just going to pull.
They'll be within 4 hours of, three of their 7 events or whatever it is.
Yeah. So
when do I throw my expensive right now? Start throwing the glide baits.
So don't be like Pete. Actually, pick them up.
I throw them all the time.
I know he does. I know, but honestly, man, like that is something I don't do. Steve, I don't have any glide bait. I mean, I have a couple of them, but they're not any expensive ones. But I think really the only way to start throwing or to get good at them is just start throwing them at any opportunity.
I think fall's a great time.
Fall's a great time to do it.
I never threw a lot of swim baits and all until probably right around the Bassmaster Classic and all. I always wanted to get in the game, but I finally got me a mag draft, and then either Pete or U-Tray gave me one of the 6 cents little S-Wave
traces, yeah.
And so I went out in the spring when I knew they were moving up, and I got lucky. I caught a 5-pounder on that mag draft in like the first 5 minutes. So I'm like, okay, it works.
Yeah.
I didn't have to go out there. A lot of times, like guys will fish all day, right? It takes a couple times to get a fish on it. But
fall's not my favorite time to throw them. They'll eat them, but they tend to just key on such smaller bait because all the little bait is really schooled up.
Tiny swim bait.
So it's not as good. Winter, Steve, is my absolute favorite. Like a big glide and an A-rig in the winter and scope fish. That is a blast. Summer, when they suspend and nobody can get them to eat anything, a lot of times you can get them to eat a glide bait just because it's a big meal and they don't want to say no to it. I know that one day Trey and I were on Harrison. I had trouble catching them suspended, and I only ended up hooking one, but I don't know how many hit the glide bait. Yeah. Which you would think with a bait that big, if they hit it, you would somehow get one of those big treble hooks in them. But man, they'll smoke that thing and not get hooked somehow. So
I think the fall, I know you're going to run in the BPT schedule, but I think the fall is a great time, like I said, to throw a glide bait or any bait, but really a glide bait, because they may be keying in on small bait, but like you're going to hook a lot of fish, but you're going to really figure out, am I using the right rod? Am I using the right line? Do I have the right hooks on the bait? Is the action right on the bait? Because you can throw it into a giant school of them busting on the surface. And it's probably going to be an opportunity bite. You can throw a hot dog in there and get bit, but then you can really figure out all the other things that matter with throwing a glide bait. Like I couldn't tell you the best rod to throw it on, the best reel to throw it with, or the best line to throw it on. I couldn't tell you because I don't throw it, but I'm going to throw it this fall for sure. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's run down.
We can get into that real quick. Like you want to throw it on a big 200 or 300 reel. Otherwise, you're going to grind your gears out. You're not going to have a reel left. They're big bait. You're talking even small on the swim bait side is usually 1.5 ounces, 2 ounces, up to 6-7 ounces. You need a rod that can handle that. It's a treble bait, so get something that's moderate fast if you're throwing those. If you're throwing the softies, you want something a little bit stiffer so you can drive that, that single big hook home. The mag drafts, though, like the ones you had the pre-rigged ones. Mm-hmm. I don't buy those because I hate that hook, but I just hate their harness system. But that one, is a treble bait, but 20 pound fluorocarbon, and just go throw it and be prepared to lose a 200 bait.
I did learn, and I'm not gonna, and he might kick my butt for saying this on live, but don't be afraid to make modifications to your bait, right? So like a mag draft is a perfect example. Mag draft, and I haven't caught a single fish, full disclosure, because I don't ever throw the damn thing, and I'm going to throw it. But the mag draft is a bait that you can make modifications to. And so like play around, get creative with your baits. And like, I know people that will cut holes in them and add lead weights to the inside of them to get them down because they don't sink very well. Like, and they're notorious, the mag drafts themselves are notorious for rolling when you burn them.
Yeah,
So
they're not designed to be.
they're not designed to be burned. But if you're trying to make modifications and stuff and getting down to fish that are maybe suspending 10, 15 foot of water, whatever the case may be, make some modifications to those baits.
The big thing with that is like throw the right bait for what you're trying to do. A mag draft isn't the right bait to throw to suspended fish. They make soft paddle tails that are designed for that. And yeah, you can add some weight and stuff to change the fall rate. You're never going to stop a mag draft from rolling over. I don't care who you are. Anybody can claim they have. They're not. That thing's rolling on them if they're trying to swim it fast. There's no stabilization, and they're so streamlined.
But
It's just a bait. Like you can add weight and get it down there, but it's designed to slow roll. Like throw it
For
out
sure.
there, let it sink, and just slowly retrieve it, and it's going to get bit. But yeah, you can modify them to an extent, but don't think you're going to change the bait to do something it's not designed to do, because that bait for sure is one that you're not going to get to not flip, roll over. And that's why Zaldane, when he went, now he's with Bass Mafia or whoever he's with, not Mega Bass. Is it Bass Mafia or
I don't know.
whoever he's
Bass
designing that
Mafia.
Zal Dangerous? Like he made some changes to it and added some stuff to stabilize that so you can burn it without it flipping.
Yeah.
So get the right bait for the job. And yeah, you can modify them. And I recommend don't get the one with the stupid harness. Get the freestyle. Get big swim bait hooks like the 8/0, 10, 12/0 beast hooks. You can get in different weights and then you don't have to cut holes in the body and stuff. You just get a different belly weight size. And
There are some cool videos out there about making modifications to big long swim baits. So I've seen where guys are, jamming a straw through the center of the bait, coming out the bottom side to make it a line through to where you can modify like those big Kitex and stuff like that. So you don't necessarily, it's a bad business model, but I don't sell, mag draft or anything, but you can make modifications to baits that you have to make it a little bit more applicable and, increase your hookup ratio. So I know I'm going to do it.
Oh yeah. MLF, PPT, Toledo Bend to start end of January, beginning of February.
Yeah, and
That'll be a good one. We'll do a whole episode on it. We're just
we'll do a whole episode. We'll probably wait and drop that probably December timeframe. Just like I think some of our first episodes last year, we covered each one of the schedules for the for Bassmaster, for BPT, for the MPFL, and so we'll probably do an entire episode later on in December and all. And we'll break down the lakes and look at kind of the history involved and when they're going, because they're going to some places at different times again.
And BPT's never fished any of the 7 lakes on their schedule this year.
Yeah.
They didn't go to Santee?
Nope. This is their first time as an organization for all 7 of these lakes. 7 fisheries. The Bass Pro Tour has never visited.
Kissimmee?
They've never been there. The Bass Pro Tour has never been. I mean, right on their official page, 2024 schedule with 7 fisheries. The Bass Pro Tour has never visited. They've never fished an event on any of these fisheries. The Bass Pro Tour has. Bass has been there a lot. The elites,
MLF, like
Toyota
Series,
has been there.
BFL,
BFLs have been there.
Invitational.
Am I just
They've never
drawing a blank?
They've never.
Isn't
fished Kissimmee.
Toho part of the Kissimmee chain?
It is.
Well, they went to Toho.
I don't think Toho.
It
It
is.
is, but it's not.
It is.
officially
It's
con-
all connected.
But I don't think it's considered part of the Kissimmee chain. It's
No,
weird the way they
No,
do
it
that.
is. It is.
I mean, I fished.
It also
and-
depends on what their off limits were. Like if they were just fishing Toho
that's
and
true.
then off limits the
So
rest
that
of
is
the
true.
chain, like
Some tournaments down there, some days, sometimes they'll have boundaries and all, but it is like I know guys. I've watched tournaments where they've been on Kissimmee chain. Guys will go all the way up to Toho.
Yeah.
Or they'll be launching at Toho and they'll go down the canals.
Maybe it's false advertising. I don't know, but
they've never been there per them, so that's what we're going with. Toledo Bend to start, then Santee Cooper late February. That's probably a little early there, so that's going to be an interesting one.
It'd be a good event. Yeah.
Lay Lake in March. Lay Lake is Lay Lake. Somebody's going to win with like 13 pounds a day, probably.
ooh, I'm gonna say 16.
And that's Red
Yeah.
Crest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Oh yeah. Dale Hollow, where nobody's gone in quite a while. That used to be a big smallmouth fisher. I think it's on a downswing, but
There is. Let's stay on Dale Hollow for a minute. Like the reason I even know about Dale Hollow is Jimmy Washam won the title belt there. I want to say it was in like 2019, 2020, which really jump started his deal in the, you could call it semi-professional fishing deal, but he found, and if you haven't seen his like YouTube series, like go watch it because and I'm giving him free PR here, but like he found, when you talk about finding something special, he 100% found the most special place to find the biggest bag of bass. And it was really cool how he did it. And I won't break it down here, but it should be pretty interesting to see Dale Hollow and somebody finds a special place on
And
that.
I think the world record smallmouth is still from Dale Hollow.
It is caught in like
Yeah.
1970 or something.
Yeah, a long time.
It's on someone's wall.
But yeah, I got a buddy that lives on Dale Hollow and fishes a lot, and it's definitely not what it was, but it'll be a good event. I mean, then they're going to Eufaula. It doesn't say which one. I'm going to assume it's the Eufaula. Everybody knows
it's Oklahoma
loves.
because I looked it up because
Is it Oklahoma?
because when I first started schedule, I was like, yeah, I know Toledo Bend's on the border of Texas, but the only one really west of Mississippi, I guess, is going to be Eufaula.
Yeah.
Everything else is not only just east of that, most of it's all Tennessee east.
Yep. And then heavy hitters at Kissimmee. So that's only a select number. Then they come to the Chowan River out of Edenton.
Ooh.
Then they move just north to the James River and then finish up St. Lawrence River in August. First of all, no, Ben pointed out, I didn't even notice until he said something. There's not a single smallmouth spawn event, which is interesting given all the drama around their smallmouth bass events.
Unless there's some global cooling next year in August, they're still spawning in August up there, but I highly doubt that.
It's possible, but not likely. So yeah, there's no smallmouth spawn event in BPT. We all know the drama that surrounded that. So it's
When are they going
interesting.
to the Dale Hollow?
April 9th. That's not going to be spawned there yet.
Well,
No. They'll still be bringing it up from winter.
I don't know. Let us know in the comments. Will Dale Hollow in April be a spawn event for the beach?
That's Western Tennessee. It's colder there than it is here, and we're probably not quite spawned that. Well, we're getting there in April.
yeah, I'm just thinking, smallmouth spawn at cooler temperatures.
Yeah, but they're water, like their water level fluctuates so much.
There may be a couple, but it won't be full blown. I don't think.
I don't think.
Plus, I think those smallmouth, they obviously operate differently than northern smallmouths.
Yeah. I don't think it will. It could be, but I don't think it will.
I think the spawn has proven us wrong every single time we've tried to predict it.
Toledo Bend will for sure be. Santee could go either way. It's not going to be full bloom, but they could have spawn. Filet Lake, I don't know enough about it in March. Where's that? That's in Alabama, right?
That is, yeah. That's Canterbury.
So they might have some spawn. That April one, maybe a few. Eufaula probably be full on April 30th to May 5th. Kissimmee 18th to 23rd, definitely not. Chowan 4th to 9th, nope. You might have some bluegill spawn still. Hint.
Mhm.
Then they go to the James River the 25th to the 30th. Toledo won't be spawning yet. Yeah, we said that before. They might not. I don't know.
No, I think it's a little too early.
I know Milliken put a video out last year where he was catching them off a bed in like the second week of January in Texas last year or the year before. So it's hard to say. It just depends on weather again. Like,
yeah,
if they get hot, then it could be. But you do live down there, so I'm going to take your word for it and say that won't be a spawn event. So that's cool. So maybe they won't hit any, but they probably hit them all. Chowan's going to be interesting. That could be really good, could be really bad, depending on. I mean, we keep talking about how it's going to be great, but we get a hurricane come through here this fall, and it'll kill that fishery for several years, like it did the last time, where there were hundreds of 6-pound bass laying on Interstate 40 and all that 95 over there when it flooded and then dropped. So that's weather is going to play a huge role there. June 4th through 9th, it could be really good. It could be really bad. Not really bad. It's always pretty good over there, but
yeah, but that one's going to be treacherous, man. Like for anybody listening that's never fished down there, and I've only been down there a handful of times, but that place is like danger city. So it'll be interesting to see how those anglers break down. Like I don't know what's going to be off limits. That's another thing too. Like we don't know what's going to be off limits for them.
Yeah, because you can run up. I mean, you can run all the way up to, past where we put in at. I think is up by Ohosky, and then the river splits. It can go on up into Virginia and all.
Yeah,
and I think the other one maybe actually go up.
I mean, there's
a run into south of Gaslin with the Roanoke Rapids. I don't know if it feeds into that or not. One of the rivers.
Well,
you can't get there.
You can't get there, but yeah,
it does eventually.
Yeah, but I mean, the intercoastal waterways right there. So
they're not. So, a couple things to clear up there. Like It's not a trailer tournament, but they're launching it at Edenton. David, Mr. Blanton, yeah, they're putting in at Edenton, so they're not really putting in the Chowan. They're putting in the Sound. Edenton's kind of out on the point there, the Chowan.
It's at the mouth, basically.
Yeah, it's kind of around the bend a little bit. It's going to be an interesting one. Like, them guys can run all the way down to the Alligator. That's about, depending on where you go in the Alligator, 120-mile round trip run down to there. That time of year can be really good down there. There's so many good like little rivers in there. It's gonna be incredible. I'm looking forward to them showcasing that fishery.
The Blackwater River, you can run all the way up in Virginia. You can go along.
Out of the Chowan, yeah.
You can go along.
So let me ask your guys' opinion. This is for everybody listening and watching. Do you like it when major tour events come to the body of waters that you guys like to fish, or do you not?
I don't like it.
it.
I mean, I do like it because you get to see people look at a water because right, we fish the same thing, so we kind of get in these habits. So to see somebody come and you're going to see guys do stuff that we don't do, and it's going to open up different ways to fish, right?
Right.
Like it's going to make you think, oh, well, I always wanted to do that, but I never tried it. Well, he just went out and caught 25 pounds doing it, so I know it'll work. I don't like it because it can bring a ton of pressure, which is awesome for the economy and stuff, but as like it being your local lake, like you kind of hate to see a bunch of dudes from out of state that are just out beating everything up. But I think it's cool, man. Like that, we all know that's a fairly poor area. Like that whole area over there, there's not a ton of money, a ton of jobs. Like their biggest drawing would be their fishing, and they don't really lean into it.
Right.
So I'm kind of hoping like maybe it spawns a whole industry them coming over there. Like you see a couple decent hotels pop up with boat access and all that stuff. I don't know. It'll be interesting. Terry, yeah, they could run into other sounds depending on where they set the off limits. They haven't put out the off limits yet. So they may, in theory, may not even be able to go to the Alligator. They could cut it off at the bridge and force them to fish like the Chowan and the Roanoke and stuff.
Yeah. And there's plenty of water.
Like, what are your thoughts on that, Ben? Like major.
I mean, I love it because these boys can fish. I mean, they're going to catch what lives there.
Yeah.
So it shows off the fisheries, and they always try to, for the most part, I think fisheries that will show out. And what is great about BPT is the fact that they're able to do places like this.
Mm-hmm.
Smaller field with only 40 guys fishing max one day, but more importantly, like because there's not really a live weigh-in, they don't need the infrastructure. You don't need a big facility, right? You don't have the expectation of the fans.
Which is why bass is, I mean, they're not going to that river system because there's a lack of fish. They're going because there's a lack of infrastructure.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to really hold a weigh-in. There's not hotels. There's not a bunch of Airbnbs. So like you said, what's BPT like 70, or no, they had 80 anglers this year.
They'll have 80 anglers and 40 at a time. So
and then 10 for championship.
Yeah.
And that's why we like the NPFL too, because of the way they do it. Like they can go to these different bodies of water because all they need is a parking lot where they can set a trailer up, right? So I'm looking forward to seeing their schedule for this year too.
And look, it can. Pete's right about being hit or miss. Like June can be really good on the river. It just depends on how it sets up.
Sure.
But like, I suspect that event, no matter how it sets up, there's going to be a topwater bite around pads, a bladed jig, chatterbait / spinnerbait bite, and then flipping cypress trees.
Yeah.
I mean, there is the potential of some forward-facing sonar if you get out and find some offshore spots.
I 100% believe somebody will win it in the Sound using forward-facing sonar.
But I think most of the field, I mean, because that's a lot of water you got to cover to find that stuff.
Yeah, it is. Treacherous, too.
Treacherous, depending on the wind. And more importantly, because there's not a lot of pressure there, there's also not a lot of research on it.
That's right.
So, like,
I think mapping.
I mean, I think if you still Google Chowan River, I think one of my videos from like 6 years ago comes up. You know, there's not a lot of stuff on.
There's probably a reason for that, though.
We'll start seeing their boats here over the next couple.
That's
months.
right.
They'll be out there graphing and doing all that because they go off limits. I think there's a 6 months before the event or something like that.
So it's just going to be harder for them to find those spots. I think more or less most of the guys will probably be running a kind of like an old school tournament,
like an old Florida tournament.
in a lot of ways. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it can fish a lot like that.
Who said that? Was that
So
Elijah?
that's Elijah said double-edged sword because we get to see the potential our lakes have, but if someone shows out, the lake gets pounded with anglers.
And so we talked about this before. I think there's a lot less risk at places like Chowan for that, just because there's not a lot of population density, and
There's not infrastructure.
there's not infrastructure, and still like it's a 3-hour drive for us, right? Maybe from Raleigh, downtown Raleigh, 2.5 hours, right? Right from
It takes me 2
Hampton
hours and
Roads.
15 minutes from Monk here. So
And it all depends on
Yeah.
where you launch it.
yeah. So it takes a little bit of time. It's in the middle of nowhere, and just because there's less population density, it's going to be hammered, and there's a lot of water.
Yeah. Now
it'll
there,
be interesting if they run to the alligator because there's places you get back in some of them creeks where your GPS doesn't even
like
work.
you're on land.
Like your map.
Yeah. Well, and it's
Well,
different.
no, it's not even that you're on land. Like literally, you won't have a satellite signal. You won't have your GPS to follow a trail.
I tell you what, I don't think I've been more miserable in a sense than fishing the Chowan in August when it's
And if there's
noon
no
on a
wind.
Saturday, no wind in the backs of those creeks, right? 100% humidity in those cypress trees back there, no wind. It shouldn't be that bad in June, but you just never know. But it's different than like Harris, like when they came here to Jordan Falls and Harris, and they're on Harris for the championship. It's 4,700 acres. You're in the middle of Raleigh Durham area of millions of people, right? It's obviously going to get more pressure, just because there's more bass boats that can hook up and go out there on a daily.
They'll bring
basis.
some people because
It will bring people, but it's not going to destroy.
You're going to see a bunch of over 20-pound bags, and that brings people. Yeah, you have to fight the snakes. I think that's true.
Yeah, but they're not allowed to have shotguns on their boats, so to kill them
Be
snakes.
filming them
I
water
like-
moccasins down there, size of your forearm.
I've never seen one down there.
I've seen
It
a
shocks me because
Yeah.
I'm like,
I've seen a few, but every snake I see, I go up to because I want to see if it's a water moccasin or not.
I think it's exactly what Elijah said. And I guess I don't need to repeat it, but I like it when they come to our lakes, but then there's this selfish part of me that's like, stay off my lake. You know what I mean?
I want
Like,
to see where they go.
but
I want to see what they're doing.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
Oh, I recognize
It was cool,
that.
man.
Oh,
Like,
I've blown by that a million times.
The
Right.
good thing down there is they get back in them creeks, it all looks the same. Most
That's
people won't
right.
have any idea where they're actually fishing.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And unlike bass, they actually don't, and I know it's not 100% accurate, but they don't geotag where their anglers are at on a map, from my understanding.
No, they do in their coverage. They'll put like what creek they're in and stuff.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, well, I didn't watch it. So you watch it.
No.
But
I haven't watched it this year since they
Yeah, I
went to
haven't.
5 fish.
But
I watched it when every fish counted.
that'll be cool, man. And they got that format heavy hitters still, so that'll be really cool.
I wish every fish would count on the show one because somebody could weigh 300 pounds over the tournament. Like seriously, you get that time of year, like Ben was talking about the pad bites, right? Like I can go down through there and catch 1,000 pound and a halfers.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
I know I've run through pad stretches.
You
where
can
I'll
do
catch
that,
30.
and you can
Peter-
also catch 30-pound bag.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Are you gonna let your secret out on how you catch them?
No. My frog. Yeah, I throw some stuff.
Pete catches them on a beetle spin.
That's
I'm just
right.
letting you know.
Beetle spin on an ultralight with 4 pound on it. Yeah. Now everybody knows.
So cool, man. 2024 BPT schedule is announced. They're going to some different places. We're super excited that for that. Who said that? They also show different techniques. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I'm most excited
Yeah,
about. Because I kind of do
absolutely.
the same things down there
Yes.
because it's what works for me. But I'm interested to see.
Well, it's
Other people
It's
fish
like
different.
that frog bite on Harris when it's 55-degree water.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never would have done that. And Lefebvre was out there catching that.
Yeah.
4 pounders on a frog, and
Yep.
and
That's
I
why
still
you should-
haven't thrown one. and
That is the coolest part. Is like they really do. They may not. Sometimes they unlock the lake, and sometimes they unlock techniques, and sometimes they do both. And so, if you're in the game to continue to learn, like it's a great opportunity because everybody knows when you fish against all these other guys, they're tight-lipped as they can be for good reason, and you're really not going to learn a whole lot. So it'll be pretty cool because they're going to share a bunch of
I
information.
might be a whole buzzard on that one. we can go over there and
I'm gonna sign
Be
up
like-
being an official and ride around and drop.
Oh,
pins
that'd
on
be
my
cool.
phone.
exactly. It'd be like, well, I'm coming over here. So you guys were done on Sunday. I'm gonna be out here on Monday.
Yeah, Pete's gonna do exactly what we talk about not doing.
Yeah,
so,
I'm gonna ride around and drop pins. They ain't coming back. It'll be fine. Well, I mean, they might.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna marshal. Who said that? Elijah. I'm gonna sign up to do a bass event this year as a
Let's
marshal. It's
all do
something
it.
I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
So when their schedule comes out, if there's one close, which there will be, I'm gonna sign up.
Okay, here's a question. Here's a question before we move on to BASS. If you sign up to be a marshal, who would you most want to get paired with?
In BPT.
Whoever's on the fish.
If it's in
Well-
BPT, on down there, Dean Rojas, 1,000%.
What?
I want to go out there with that dude with a
Well,
frog.
yeah, he's a frog
man.
master.
Because that dude would be able to tell you why the certain section of pads are good and other ones aren't, where we can't figure it out. I guarantee you that guy would know. Terry says he sucks at bass fishing. Yeah.
Okay, Terry.
Okay, Terry.
Whatever.
Dean for that, but honestly, like any of them, because they all do things different. Like
Okay.
they all have strengths, they all have weaknesses. You're gonna learn from all, like, their sticks to get there, right? Like they
Absolutely.
can catch them anywhere. They didn't get there just by one lucky tournament. So
Okay.
I think any of them would be cool. Just if it's somebody that would share information, like
Well,
or not
they
share
don't-
information, but like I've
Engage.
talked to guys that have done it, and some of the anglers are engaged, and they'll be like, "Yeah, I'm doing this because X, Y, and Z." While they fish, other guys are just fishing. Like, so I caveat that, and I would want somebody that's going to explain why they're doing things and like be a decent person. I can tell you who I wouldn't want. I'm not going to, but
Don't
there's
Yeah,
a certain
yeah.
angler that I wouldn't want to be with.
I could think of anglers
And,
maybe I
uh,
wouldn't want to be with, but like
I would
anybody
really
else.
want to be with Jacob Wheeler just so I can take a picture and have him sign it for Trey.
Okay. Dick.
He-
Jacob Wheeler is
he-
a phenomenal angler.
He is.
He's great with a frog too.
He is too.
He's great with pretty much everything.
Yeah, he's one of those dudes. That's like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what
So-
they have.
So Ben, who would you want to be?
I don't have anyone in particular either.
Oh,
BPT.
To be honest, I'd rather be with somebody who's not kind of on the juice and figured it out.
Really?
Like I want to see. I would much rather be marshaling, going along with someone who's having a good tournament, who's got a good read on the water, so I can learn from it. Because if I'm riding along with a guy who is completely lost out there, it's not his event.
Yeah.
Like, well, that's as good as me being out here practically.
who said ouches?
Terry.
Okay, well, Pete's just joking around about the Jacob Wheeler thing. Like,
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
he just reminds me of my cousin. And but anyways, seriously, like his physical appearance.
Yeah.
I want to be paired with Keith Poche. I want to be paired with somebody that
Honestly, that'll be a Keith Poche. Poche's gonna love it.
I would say that, but I'm not.
I don't
wouldn't be
care if
looking
he's on the
forward to-
juice or not.
I don't want to be on the boat ride for that.
Oh, that's
I
gonna be
want
because that
to.
dude will send it across the sound and
I mean, now
7-footers
I am
going
gonna
go fishing
show
out
up.
the river.
I don't think I'll fit in them anymore, but I'm going to show up in my high school football pads, ready to get after it.
You better get a
And
seatbelt.
well, I'm probably going to have to install an airbag under the seat so I can eject myself when I know things are getting a little sketchy.
Because I
But
can tell you there are some beaver dam patch over
Ooh.
can jump down there.
and that's natural, so
Yeah.
he can jump them. But like, I think it would be really cool to ride with Keith Poche in that small boat if he runs it next year. We don't know. He may choose to run his big Gator Tracks boat, but I think it would just be really fun. Just to, I don't care if he's even on the juice, because you know what? If he's not on the juice, I know the juice isn't there, and then I'll just watch the footage and figure out what the juice
Well,
was.
yeah,
you know what I
then
mean?
you know
And it's
what-
not like I don't go down there.
I've
without
learned
Pete
what not to
anyways.
do
Yeah, I've
today.
learned what not to do. You know what I mean? Same thing my dad always told me when he was doing stupid crap.
It's not
Tell
like
me
Trey,
what not to do.
it's not like Trey doesn't have a bunch of waypoints in his phone from places I've taken him.
I've never marked a single
I know,
waypoint, Peter.
I'm just messing with you.
But yeah, so I think it would be a cool opportunity.
That's a great question. Like, that's a cool question.
and
What about? Well, we're going to talk about St. Lawrence, so let's go.
Right.
Is there anybody, if you were going to do a bass event, that you would want to be with?
yeah, but the last thing I'll say on
Oh, wait, there's
BBT,
more.
the last thing I'll say is there's a lot of real, I mean, they're all really good at offshore fishing, right? But who do you think may struggle in that type of event? Because it's so different
Uh,
than what they're typically used to.
I think somebody like Brent Ayler. Like,
Yeah.
he's pretty offshore centric kind of guy. Guys that really like to use a spinning rod.
Like a lot of
And,
finesse guys.
Yeah, man. I mean, you can catch them down there, but you're going to break off a lot of fish.
Yeah.
I mean, I throw it and I've caught Trey. I mean, Trey seemed to catch some pretty good ones on a spinning rod, but like
Yeah.
You're taking your life in your own hands trying to spin a rod down there because there's, I mean, between the cypress knees and the stumps and the trees.
I wonder how many of those Alabama boys or those dudes from the Coosa River system are going to go down there and throw a swim jig around. I'm not going to say a swim jig doesn't work,
Oh, you'll catch them down there on swim jig.
but it's probably not going to be the baited choice down there.
Well,
you know?
if they're in the pads, it could be.
Yeah, it just depends on how the pads
Like
are.
especially if they're in the pads and it's not windy. Like I could see a swim jig being
Depends on
maybe-
how the pads are. If they're the thick pads like you can get in June, then a swim jig won't do.
And I
Yeah,
and,
yeah, yeah,
and I
that's
hate
true.
to say this,
or like more
Yeah.
more dollar pads.
Yeah.
And all. Yeah.
Which a lot of those pads are those like $50 pads
yeah.
down there.
I hate to say this, but I'm not sure how good my boy KVD would do on the Chowan.
Oh, he'd do great. He put a spinner bait in his hand and just go smash 'em.
So KVD,
That or he'd take a square bill and just crank all
Yeah.
the cypress trees.
KVD, you need to come back and improve me wrong. Come
I've
back and prove
seen.
me wrong. At best,
I've got a
Come back
buddy
and
that
prove me
lives over there that has won a ton of money on a square bill. I should
on
throw
the,
it
on
more
the cypress trees.
on just everything.
Just
Like
on
he'll
the-
throw it
yeah.
everywhere. I just don't. I haven't had the same luck, and I just end up losing a bunch of square bills. So I just
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
throw
It's
'em.
because you're too busy throwing a freaking beetle spin.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I almost just gave my juice up.
I would not give your juice up. You throwing that mag draft. at
That's
me.
right. 2 mag drafts. I got the
could.
dual mag draft.
Because the water's, I mean, it's tannic there,
It is.
Yeah.
but it's not super.
I know another guy I know that lives over there throws big swim baits a lot, like mag draft side, 5-6 inch swim baits, and catches a lot of fish.
Is Michael Johns watching?
Mike, if you're on,
Yeah, you would
Love you.
absolutely struggle down there, Mike. I don't think you'd even get a bite.
he would throw buzz bait the whole time. He called me before Jockasy before he went and fished at BFL, and he was like, what do you think the water is going to be? What temperature? I was like, I don't know. Probably. He's like, it doesn't matter. I'm just throwing a buzz bait anyway.
Seriously, hey, Mike, we love Mike. We always give Mike a bunch of SHI beep, but Mike, you're not gonna catch him.
But before we talk about St. Lawrence, who would you want to be with on the bass side? Trey?
Me?
Yeah.
Man.
If you had to pick an angler,
Gosh.
Marshall.
I don't know. They're all my idols. I'm just kidding.
It depends.
You
on
guys
the,
are my idols.
It depends on the event. A
I-
lot of it, like
Man. So
Well, pick a fishery they fit. Say Santee Cooper.
all right, I would pick Carl Jacobson. I would pick him because his story is awesome. He's engaged with everybody that's on his boat for the
Mhm.
most part. And let's be frank, his accent's really cool.
Yeah, that's a
So-
cool accent.
But I would like to fish with him. I think it would be a great time. He's super positive. He's got a lot of resiliency. He's lost his way in the elites before and had to claw his way back into the elites. Like he comes from the other side of the international date line. I mean, like he's really doing something that no other Australian has done, and I think it's very special. And seems like a very good person.
Santee, BASS. Who would you want to
I
ride
don't
in the
know.
boat?
I don't know. I mean,
Rick Klon.
Rick's up there, Cody, even John's up there, Maddie. I mean,
Matty Wong's another one.
Matt Robinson. I just want to see the show for a day.
Yeah.
You know?
Matty Wong and Carl Jacobson, to me, and Brandon Polinick too. They're not cookie cutter dudes, but like they all
Brandon-
three have this like a lot of the same characteristics. So to be paired with any of those three would be dope.
I would want to go with Hackney.
He's the goat.
I would want to get in a boat, especially on like Santee or somewhere where he can go to work with that jig. And I don't even want him to talk to me. I just want to watch him fish that dang jig from in the boat. Like that dude is an artist with that thing.
Yeah, that's a fact.
I can't remember what tournament it was last year where they couldn't see the bed fish, but it might have been the year before they were. And he had a top 10, but he was flipping a jig on, and he knew beds were there, like on cypress trees. And he would flip it up and just watching him. And he's like, that's the right kind of tree. And he'd flip it up.
Yeah,
there.
that was on Lake
And he would
George.
just sit there. He'd be like, she's gonna pick it up now. I'm like, how do you know that when you can't? It's just to me somebody that can
So-
visualize that stuff.
So I think it would be
amazing.
different if I was paired with somebody for a one day, or if I got to be with them, let's say.
Well, they change it every day.
I
You don't
know,
marshal
but
the same person.
but
so.
we're not. It's our rules right now.
Okay.
So for 4 days straight, I would want to be with somebody who's more animated, who is engaging, who's more colorful, who has a little bit more like you're gonna feel like you're a friend to them.
We're gonna add this
On a 1-day
we
deal.
do our schedule breakdown. We're adding this question to every
On a 1-day deal where I know I may never have the opportunity again, I may want to get paired with somebody like Hackney or KVD when he comes back. And, some of the guys that I'm like, I need to learn, and they don't even have to say a word to me.
I'd want to go for 1 day with Ike and Ellie.
Oh,
Just so when he starts
want
screaming,
4
I
days
would
with
start
Ike.
screaming the same way. Ah! And I would just run the opposite way around the boat.
yeah. So we sound like fangirls right now, but you know what? Like, yeah.
It'd be cool. I mean, any of those folks, would be you'd learn from.
Matt
opportunity to learn.
Robertson, Jonathan. Yes, that's
Just for
another
fun.
one.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be like Ben said, the show, man. Santee Bryan, Luke Palmer, Greg Hackney, or Jason Christie. Yeah, Jason Christie would be a good one.
He might
Body
like
of
scare
water,
you out of
too.
the boat. I don't know.
He's one of the nicest dudes, though, but he does look scary.
Yeah, he looks.
He has a face that looks like he wants to punch you. Then
Yeah.
you talk to him, and he's a really cool dude. But St. Lawrence, man, it always shows out.
Man,
But good night. There were like 4 27-pound bags today.
there was a record set yesterday.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up. real
Bryant
quick.
Smith.
People who didn't make the cut, and they have reduced over
Over 40 pounds.
That's
40 pounds.
Hold on. I'm gonna.
how do you
I got it up right
how do you
now.
even feel bad?
I'm gonna go to the cut line to start. The cut line was 40 pounds, 14 ounces was what got you in. Imagine catching
Jeff-
20 pounds a day. Jeff Gustafson caught 19.8 yesterday, 21 today, and didn't make the cut.
Like you have to be on them. You know what
Just
I'm
look
saying?
at the bags from today.
Are you sharing this?
No, let me share it. It'll make it easier.
Yeah.
So you asked me also like Kyle Welter. I'd like to be in the boat with him too because he has a different. I think his frame of mind is so different. But yeah, it is pathetically awesome. If that's a way to say it. Like it's crazy to see the cut weights.
There we go.
Yep, there
Okay,
it is.
Y'all will be able to see that. So, like Welcher, 27 pounds.
Today.
Taku, 27 pounds. Patrick Walters, 27 pounds. I can't say his name.
Koya Fujita.
Koya?
Koya Fujita.
Koya? 26-15. Like, good night.
OG
He
Bill
caught-
Lowen
He
coming.
caught almost 25 yesterday and 26 today, almost 27 today, and still in fifth.
So
Yeah.
It's
just
a lot of times we talked about this before, but a lot of times these smallmouth events or cookie cutter events where everyone is within ounces of each other, and that is to some extent true
There's
here.
another 27 pounds.
But-
Corey Johnson.
These weights are more than just cookie cutter. When you start talking multiple 27-pound bags,
That's four
a 29-pound bag.
4 27-pound bags today. I'm just going down to see if there was any more.
I mean, even
But like, imagine this. Like, look at Clifford. He had 5 yesterday. He struggled, obviously. Imagine catching.
no, he only
22.
caught 4 bass.
Well, he only had 5 pounds. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
22 pounds and not even. I mean, you're in 100. Like, it's just wild to me. And I'm gonna figure out why Keith didn't fish.
And why is this event so important? Well, A, this is the last event of the season. B, they're going to start making cuts.
So Kyle short of let's just do this first. AOI. Kyle Welcher short of really struggling tomorrow, and Brandon Cobb, he barely made the cut. Jumping up big time. It's gonna be hard to beat him in AOI.
That's right.
If it finished today, this is where we'd be.
It's going to be very.
The close race is this one.
Rookie of the year.
Rookie of the year, Joey Cifuentes and
Koya
Koya.
Fujita.
I'm just gonna call him Fujita. I can say
There
that.
you go.
Cifuentes and Fujita, 4 points as it sits right now.
It's anybody's game for ROI.
It's like if Vegeta makes the top 10 cut and Joey doesn't, he probably loses Rookie of the Year.
That's right.
It's that close. Like,
Is there any way they can tie?
They'll go with.
well,
Big
I
Bass.
think it goes to biggest
Bass.
bag,
Biggest-
and then I think it's biggest bag, single day bag, and, then it goes
biggest
to big
bass.
bass.
That's right.
Oh.
Yep. But dude, like, imagine if Cifuentes Joey wins ROI. That's 2 Elite Series victories and Rookie of the Year in the same. Like, that's crazy.
I mean,
dude.
regardless, he's lamented. Like,
But
how many
imagine-
guys have won 2 in 1 year?
Imagine if he doesn't get it and he wants
Yeah.
to. Like that just shows you how.
And then
Vegeta's been.
I have to give a shout out to the Japanese anglers, man. Like,
Yeah.
it does not matter if, I mean, some of them don't do well on largemouth fisheries, but like Kenta Kimura, Taku, like Koya Fujita, like those guys, they are hammers every single place you go. And what's interesting about them is their techniques. They're so different than what we're traditionally used to seeing. Yeah. I think it's a really cool thing to see those guys. I think it's a really cool thing that Bass offers that opportunity. Well, I mean, those guys had to qualify through the Opens though, right? Yeah. So, but
I'm sorry, we were getting blown up, so I just wanted to.
No, you're good. You're good. But yeah, man, like a rookie winning 2 Elite Series events of the year and potentially making Rookie of the Year, like, I don't know if that's ever been done before.
And then, like Trey said, like, it's an important event because of those races, but also guys trying to make it. And Maddie talked about it. If you watch your episode, like, he knew the last 2 events were important. He had a little bit of a stumble the last day of Champlain.
He had a good tournament, though.
He had a great tournament, but I talked to him after that. He lost a few fish that would have made it even better. He needs a top 15 here to for sure make it requalify next year. I think he's sitting in 19th right now. If I remember right, he was 19th, and he's like 10 ounces out of that number 15 spot. So if you all watch that, we became even bigger fans of Matty after talking to him and getting to know him. He's a great dude. So say a little prayer, whatever it is you do tonight, that he can get on a few fish tomorrow, and we'd love to see him back fishing next year.
And you guys are going to see, like, go check that episode out. You guys are going to see him come back on our show.
Yeah,
like,
Matty will be back.
He's going to be back after the Elite season's done and after he's done decompressing with whatever happens, whether or not he requalifies or requalifies. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about that. And that's basically all we're going to talk about. But
we're going to talk about his whole two years on the Elites, fishing the Classic, everything we didn't cover in the episode, like that we released. We're gonna get caught up to wherever we are that day. So whatever's going on with his career, we'll get caught up to that day. But we're pulling for him. There's a lot of guys on that, close to that cut line. So
that's right.
Be interesting. I don't know how many we've talked about before. We don't know exactly how many bass are going to cut, how many anglers they want for next year. There's nothing written in stone. What we do know is 9 are coming up from the 10 are EQs. Coming up from the EQs.
Yep.
And is this the last year that they're doing the Bass Nation
I'm
winter?
Not sure. I think so.
I think this is the last year of the Bass Nation winter. So that's 11 for sure.
Yeah, I don't know that's official. I think that's the rumors that we're all hearing. But
no, they did announce the Bass Nation won't make the Elites anymore. Yeah, the Bass Nation.
I assume probably within a couple of weeks of this tournament wrapping on Sunday, we'll get like a schedule and some other stuff come out.
Yeah.
Although like the EQs don't fall, they don't finish up till October, so we're not going to have a field set until.
Yeah, but they'll still announce the schedule before the field.
Yeah.
Who just said that about Rick Lund?
The EQs aren't done yet, so we won't know who's going to qualify. Elijah.
I have to check it out.
And then Rick Lund did make a video. He talked about like the new guard taking over. He had a lot of good things to say about forward-facing sonar. I think they were trying to bait him into saying something about it because they asked specifically about it, and he was like, "It's a great technique." He was like, "The young guns got it. Us old dogs don't." Like, I mean, it's a changing of the guard.
He's such an OG. He remembers 7 bass limits.
Oh yeah,
he remembers when you got bonus points. That's probably when you had live fish.
That's right. That's right. So. Yeah.
Tim, we won't hear anything about Van Dam and Bassmaster until
probably a year or
if
two.
He makes that decision. It's 24 months on his contract, and I got that from somebody in MLF. If he were to go fish somewhere else, so he's got at least 2 years before he can even talk about it, or else he owes a bunch of money to MLF organization. So I don't think we'll know. The speculation, I think, from everybody I've talked to, Maddie talked about on our episode. He's like, I don't know if I should say anything. We're like, we've been saying it, dude.
Yeah.
Everybody sort of has this feeling like Kevin's not done.
It's not the last you're going to see of KVD. However, he could throw a giant curveball at everyone and do something completely
Maybe he'll
different.
go fish the NPFL.
Or he'll start his own series. Who knows, man? Yeah, it'd be really cool to see.
That would be really cool.
Fish the NPFL. Who asked about the EQ anglers?
That was Elijah. Yeah, they haven't. We don't know.
They're not done yet. So they
share
have
that again real quick because there's a few that are pretty much.
They go to October, I think.
Yeah, so they have next on the EQ schedule is what, Eufaula?
Yeah.
And then They end in Florida, actually, and they're fishing a fall tournament
So
in Florida.
Kenta's won't count. So the top 11 right now would be who would make it. JT is it's gonna be tough for him not to. John's gonna be tough. Trey McKinney's probably in.
Yeah, he's in.
The top 5 are probably good, so which will be the top 6. It's that those last couple spots are pretty close. You got 2 tied, 10 and 11 are tied, only a couple points behind to 14. Like those events can take such wild swings too, because
There's so many.
and there's no guarantee you're going to go out and catch. Like not all these guys are going to go out and catch them every week. Now the EQ guys are better than a lot of the regular opens anglers. Not that those guys aren't good too, but and locals, like you got locals coming out that are taking up those higher spots. There's just a bigger disparity in the way points end up getting shelled out. And so we'll see. JT Tompkins is leading Elijah. He's leading the EQ.
I think his entire family fishes the opens.
Yeah.
Like,
So does McKinney and his
or is it
brother both
McKinney's?
fish it. Him, well,
it's Trey
and his
McKinney,
brother,
Trevor McKinney,
and
I think his dad fishes it too. And from what
There's
Trevor
Trevor.
McKinney, he's sitting in 23rd right now.
Were there 2 events left?
Yeah, there's
But
2, I
if you go
believe.
is there 2 or 3?
Yeah, scroll back down for a second.
Sorry.
So let's say
Like I said, Kenta's will be a drop because he's already in.
go down to number 11,
He's
So
tied with 10.
979, and scroll down to like number 20.
20 is
To be honest, if
917.
you're above 900 points, you have an outside shot.
You do have a shot, yeah.
You do.
Right. So there's still a lot of guys that can
And the only one in that range right now,
like Andrew
Ooh,
Upshaw still got
Bobby Lane
Man,
has a shot.
he's
At 21.
flirting, man.
Like if Bobby has a couple really good events,
And if y'all don't know about Bobby Lane, he fished the BPT. He's a Red Crest champion. He decided to walk away from the BPT and try to get to bass, or
But-
back to bass, or
Yeah.
to bass,
back.
back to bass.
Both Lane brothers.
Let's do before we I know he's
What's the schedule look like?
yeah, let's just look at the schedule real
Yeah, yeah,
fast before I gotta get and upload those videos.
yeah. Let's look at it real quick. There's the opens. What do we got left? 3 left. So Watts Bar, Lake of the Ozarks, Harris Chain.
Oh, you know what?
Oh,
They already
shit.
fished you, follow.
Yeah,
You can
that's
be
right.
lower than 900 and still have a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3.
So Watts Bar, Tennessee. That one's going
This
to be
is going to be an
interesting.
interesting one.
Lake of the
October,
Ozarks in
Harris.
September.
That's
Ben,
gonna
what is
be-
your thoughts on that?
I mean, that's going to be
Is it a crapshoot?
it is because that time in September, depending on
What's
how
up,
the weather
Sydney?
shakes out, you could still have a thermocline. They could still be a lot offshore,
Yeah.
or if the water starts to turn over,
Then it's going to that
I
fall
mean,
pattern.
who knows? Whether
Yeah.
I mean, they could be deeper, shallower, they could be all over. But I suspect it will be a tougher event.
Yeah.
Florida,
I'm really looking forward
Florida
to that
in
Harris Chain in
October. So,
October.
but here's the thing, man. Like, and I was talking to some guys in Florida about this schedule the other day. Like, Florida, depending on where you go, like it's pretty consistent on how you fish it. There's not too much. It's not like they got 20 foot of water they can shoot off in.
Well, so at the
You know what
Harris
I mean?
chain, like all through basically, if you're not fishing the spawn at the Harris chain, you're fishing offshore, whether that's in eelgrass, whether
But
that's
offshore
hydrilla, whether that's,
is how deep?
I mean, you could be
Offshore
hundreds of yards from the bank in 6 foot of water,
Exactly.
Offshore is relative.
but
That's right.
you still have to go out there. And
I
find
think
those
too
spots.
so many people like relate offshore to like over 10 foot deep or over 15 foot deep,
Just-
but that's not the way it is in
Just as
Florida.
long as you can't cast to the bank.
Yeah, I mean it's literally less than what your boat length is, depending on the boat you have.
Tim said, I know the Northern Lakes are killer smallmouth tournaments for the pros. Do you think the pros love the Northern swing? Absolutely.
Well,
I
dude,
promise you they love going out there and catching
So-
the brown fish.
I think I think why a lot of guys love the northern swing is where they can make up a lot of ground in the points, right? So like, whereas like you may struggle on, let's say Santee, like if you're not on 4 to 6 pounders, like you're out of the money. But when the northern swings, I'm not going to say it's anybody's game because clearly the numbers show it's not, but like you have a better chance at making a cut in the northerns.
I think that's part of it because there's just seems to be so many more fish out there. They're all relatively 3 pound plus, right? If I mean, you saw the St. Lawrence. If you're catching 15 pounds a day, I mean, you're like almost.
It's so
dead.
wild. It's so
You're-
wild.
Like you're not even close to the cup, but you just have to stumble on
That's right.
the right ones and weed through them. Whereas, I mean, it might be a mindset thing. You know that they're there. You just got to pick the white instead of going around and not getting a bite for hours.
It's so wild to me to watch dudes land a 2.5 pound smallmouth, only have one fish in the live well,
And
then
throw
just
it back.
throw it back.
Because they don't want to take the risk of that fish keeling
Dying.
over and
Yep.
dying.
And they
Yeah.
know that it's worthless to them, essentially.
Yep.
It is absolutely insane.
And you do
to
not
me to
see that
dudes
in many other.
I
many
wouldn't
other
do it.
Well, I haven't caught a smallmouth since I was a kid, so I'm going to keep every 1 pounder I can. But like, that's what I think about the Northern Swing. Like, you have a lot of ground you can make up. It's easy to catch fish. It's fun. It's dangerous. All the above. But at the end of the day, like what Maddie's doing right now, he's in a race. He knows his ass is on the line, right? He knows that, right?
Yeah.
And
Well, that's why he went and fished 8-footers yesterday.
yeah, he surfed.
And there is a difference between like, I mean, St. Clair, but St.
Oh,
Louis,
yeah.
Champlain, like, even Oneida.
Yeah, there's
Cayuga.
drifting
Yeah.
included in some
But,
of
like,
those things, and
those events seem to be way different than when they go to say Wisconsin or Minnesota.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
So it just depends.
When's
on
the last time they fished? Wisconsin or
so,
Minnesota?
I
Oh,
think Bassmaster went to Milwaukee
And-
last
and it-
year.
Did they
Mille
last
Lacs?
year?
Mille
Mille Lacs,
Lacs, yeah.
yeah, and that's in
Minnesota.
And 2 years ago, they went to whatever's in Wisconsin. I
Going back to the Northern Swings, though, you said it earlier.
Lacrosse.
How the heck do you?
Oh,
hang,
yeah.
How the heck do you hang your head low with like 19 pounds a day? But you do. So it's a very humbling.
It's
It's,
27.
it's a very humbling event.
It's all
too.
relative.
And we didn't talk about this. I think I made a quick comment, but the record bag for smallmouth in an Elite Series event was weighed in yesterday.
Yep.
By a rookie, right?
29.5.
Bryant Smith, is he a rookie? We should check.
Yeah, he is.
But over
he is.
29 pounds of smallmouth were weighed in yesterday. And I think it was by a rookie, dude.
No, he's not.
He's not a rookie?
No.
No, okay.
Oh, yeah, he's in third.
Yeah. So a rookie yesterday. So that's the other cool thing, man. Rookies are winning, different people are winning, like just records are being broken.
I mean, think
It's a
about,
pretty exciting year. And Maddie
Jay Shakira last year, all Century Belt, smallmouth.
Yeah.
and Matt Robertson, we don't have the picture pulled up, but dude, they're not fishing in easy conditions up there. They're fishing in El Nino-
yesterday. Today's fine.
Yeah, yesterday was, and Pete said it, like Maddie was surfing on 8-footers,
Maddie's legit
And he's
is fishing
Triton.
8-footers.
and he's got a 21-foot
And
Triton.
there's not many people, like, no offense to anybody on here that's from North Carolina, but when you're like, I was fishing 3-footers, most of the time they're barely ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but Maddie knows an 8-footer. Dude grew up surfing competitively, teaching in Hawaii. Like, he's one of those people that if he's like, I was in 8-footers, I believe that was an
Yeah.
8-footer.
And he sandbagged, so they were probably 10-footers. So
He didn't sandbag as bad today on Bass Track.
no,
He
didn't,
said
didn't.
19 and had 20. Last event on Champlain, though, he was like
Who-
18
Yeah,
pounds.
I
weighed
did. I
20.
Who gave
did
us-
that. I
who
was
gave
like,
us
way
the-
to sandbag.
Who gave us the Shaka, Pete? Who's that?
Oh, that's Sydney Jones.
What's up, Sydney?
Oh.
Throwing out the Shaka. That's some Matty Wong stuff right there.
But yeah, so that's St. Lawrence is wrapping up. That'll be an interesting.
Matt Robertson's wrap is completely ripped
Matt
off his
Robertson's
boat.
wrap is off his boat. Matty Wong needs a 15th place to for sure requalify for the elites next year. BPT schedules out. They're coming to the Chowan in North Carolina for all of our local guys listening. Everybody else, you can check that schedule out, see if they're coming near you. As always, make sure you check out those organizations, support the veterans that have fought for our freedom. They've been scrolling across the screen for a little bit. If you can help out anyway with those, check them out. Make sure you head to One Cast Fishing. Use the code THE1CAST to check out. Save 10% of your order. And then our new partner will announce next week. Y'all thought I was going to mess up, but I didn't.
Pete
Y'all
throws a
got-
beetle spin.
Y'all got anything else?
No, we're good.
No, man. Appreciate everyone tuning
Appreciate
in. Have a
everybody.
great weekend, and we'll see you next Friday.
Yeah, appreciate y'all joining and help us continue to grow a culture of anglers helping anglers, one cast at a time.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh god, it's a toad, son. It's a toad, dude.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day.